Welcome back. We're back for another week of Premier League Unpacked. I know you missed us, we missed you. Obviously, last weekend, no football, but we're excited for the footy to be back. And we're back for episode 22 with some special guests. Yo, I'm getting used to saying the 20s, bro. It's going to take a bit of time for that.
Yo, first of all, well done for getting there, Bish co-host.
Getting there. Yo, we've done it. We're here. Before we say anything else, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit the share button, send it to your auntie, send it to your uncle, spread the good word, send it to your dog. Let's grow this thing. But without further ado, I mean, I'll come back to you, Premsy, last, but just to introduce the two esteemed guests that you can see below us. We've got directly below me, bottom left, we've got Guna Lee. Good to have you, my brother. I've enjoyed watching you on streams with Premsy before. I'm excited to hold the space with you, so definitely.
I appreciate it, man. I was struggling behind the scenes, man. Like, man, I was having a mare, but yeah, I'm good. I'm here.
Wicked. Glad to have you here. Glad to be able to hear. And James, we're just having a little quick chat in the backstage. Lovely to have you here, brother. I know you're a United fan. I know I'm a City fan, but you seem like a top fella, so good to have you here.
Yeah, cheers, man. Looking forward to it. Hell of an introduction from the Arsenal fan as well. Didn't get a good reception at all, did I?
Yeah, no, it was straight in the chat.
Hurt, man. Too much hurt, and I'm sick of United fans chatting a bag of nonsense, man.
Yeah, we're going to get to that because I think there's a lot of stuff that's still fresh from that United and Arsenal game, even with the week off. But before that, obviously, the man to my right or left, depending on where you're looking at this, Premsy, the big man. How you doing, my bro?
You know what, bro? I'm not going to lie, people. I've not had a great day today. I suffer with anxiety, suffer with depression, and today's been one of them days where it's just been absolutely fuckery. I couldn't be asked doing anything. But you know what? Pulled myself out of it, and we're all good. We're all right. And that's just as honest as you can get, because man's an honest guy. Wear my heart on the sleeve. And if there's people out here that are suffering, like I said, drop man an inbox and I'll message you and I'll chat to you, because man's always there available.
Yo, that's the realness right there. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you being here, my bro. Hopefully a bit of footy talk and the footy coming back this weekend can give us all a little bit of respite. I don't know if you want to start there. Obviously we had the games postponed last weekend. Don't know if we want to get into if anyone had any thoughts about the postponements, or whether we want to move on to whether there were any teams that we think might have been happier with the postponement than others. Don't know if anyone wants to run in on that, or whether you want to jump to the next thing. I know there's a lot of political talk that's in football in the last week or 10 days, and for most of us as football fans, it's just like, right, let's just wait for the footy to be back on. And
go on, Guna Lee. Give me what
you know. What? I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I'm pissed in it because I was ready to go to that Everton game and see us bounce back. And you know what? A lot of people kind of have their thoughts about Arteta, but look, one thing about the guy is he's got that bounce back ability, and he's had it for the last probably about 14 months. He's had that bounce back ability, and it's been good. I was ready to go to the game, link up with my guy Premsy again at the game after the game, but look, like, we're here, and obviously unfortunate circumstances, obviously with the Queen. So obviously that's unfortunate, but we're here. You know what's annoying though is I was banking. I knew Man United was going to lose their next game, and I knew it was going to be pointless them beating us. So that's why I was more pissed off, man. I was so pissed that they actually got that week off to pretend that they're going to be
rejuvenate
by winning the Europa League somehow, beating Sheriff. That's what Man United do, innit? Like, somehow. But
James. I've got a feeling you're going to feel a bit differently about that last part, but how did you feel about having the weekend off? Did you feel like that was lost momentum, or did you feel like it's a good chance for you to regroup and kind of channel what's happened on the last two games with Liverpool and United?
You know, when some people have a birthday and they stretch it out for the whole week, right? And when we beat Arsenal 3-1 and you stretch it out for like 2-3 weeks until your next game, we get to enjoy that all the way until City, which is our next Premier League game, because we've got to postpone it now. So that birthday of beating Arsenal and seeing them take a massive L has lasted like 3 weeks. And I've got to love that. I've got to thank the Queen for that, because at the end of the day, I get to rub it in these guys' faces for weeks. So love it.
You can't thank the Queen for it.
I love it.
Hold on. I'll tell you what. I've got to worry about this one, because I feel like you may think you're actually up, but I feel like Man United are just literally progressing this good win and this winning feeling just to kind of end up in a position which you don't want to be in by the end of the season. So look, take that W right now. Take that W. But I don't know if you're going to be kind of smiling by the end of the season. I really don't.
Listen, mate, we don't know, do we? Like, I'm very realistic as far as, like, you know, the fans go. Like I said, there's plenty of people that aren't, and it could go one way or the other. But at the end of the day, 4 wins in a row in the league. Since the first 2 games, they've been playing well. Good teams are built on good defences. We've kept clean sheets in 2 of the games, and you think those 4 wins? You've had Liverpool, Arsenal, and 2 away games in there. So, to be honest, like, it's hard to disagree with form. You've got some players that are playing well, some players that aren't, some struggles in the team and stuff, but you've got a decent coach who, in fairness, isn't proven in this league. He's come in, he's done well with what he's got so far. He's been backed in the transfer market to a big degree. And let's see where it goes. Are we going to get top 4? I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know at the end of the season. The league's going to be very competitive. There's one standout team. It's not Arsenal. There's one standout team in the league, and then there's a bunch of other teams that, you know, can compete, and we'll see who's the most consistent out of them, because that's basically what it's going to come down to.
You better enjoy these 3 weeks, because that standout team's waiting for you in the next game, and end of the birthday.
Wait until Scott McTominay does like a keen on Haaland.
Oh my God! That'd be a problem. Definitely. What do you think, Premsy? Do you reckon, as an Arsenal fan, or with your take on the United thing, who do you think's appreciating the weekend off? Do you think you guys could have done with getting straight back in there with a chance to just get back in it?
Yeah, most definitely, bro. At the end of the day, you don't like losing, innit? And especially when you've gone on a run of winning bare games on a row, and then you end up losing to fucking United, innit? Like, that's just a kick in the dick. Like, nobody likes losing to United. But we could have bounced back against Everton, in my opinion. Unfortunately, the game has been called off. For me, football getting called off is a massive thing. Like, I look forward to football all the time. And when football's not getting played, start feeling certain ways in it, because that's just the nature of the sport. I love it. I love my club. And obviously, you got to respect the fact that it's the Queen's country. She's passed away. She was the longest reigning monarch. And at the end of the day, it's only a week of football getting missed out, and it's not the end of the world. So I can understand that it's happened. However, let's just get cracking now. Let's go on. I think United got a lucky escape. We're not playing Crystal Palace away, because they're a very tough team. But let's just have it now. Let's get back to Premier League. Let's get back to winning ways. Let's stay top of the table. And that's all I'm saying, bro. I'm just looking forward to diving in there. And on the United thing as well, I just want to touch on James, man. Big up to yourself, because you're one of the only United fans that actually see reality and see as it is. You get me? Because it can't just be one season a manager come in and flip the switch on its head and change everything around. You get me? So big up to yourself for that as well. Back to you, Bish.
Yeah, man, I feel ya. I mean, I'm not gonna give my opinion on the Queen situation, because I don't want the stream to go too far left. But I mean, the cricket was still on. Certain things carried on running. There's been other times that football stays happening with, I don't know, man. It's political. Obviously, I don't speak badly on the dead. That's just something, regardless of who it is. I don't speak on the dead. Period. It's just a respect to anyone that's passed. But I think there's a lot going on in the country right now with money, and there's a lot of other shit going on in the world where sometimes it feels like it's being pushed down your throat a little bit, in terms of everything has to grind to a halt. The football has to stop. We're going to throw millions of taxpayers' money at it, and it's like, it's hard, you know what I mean? But other people are feeling it more close to home. For me, obviously, that's her family. The people that know her are gonna feel the difference. But I didn't know her personally, so I'm not like grieving and mourning. So I was a bit just hurt and disappointed with the football being rescheduled, but I understand it. I understand there are some logistical reasons as well with the police and stuff like that. And obviously I understand for anyone that feels otherwise or feels more strongly or emotively about the situation. Does anyone have any insight onto why there have been games that have been postponed this week and some that haven't? The Chelsea-Liverpool one, I'm hearing obviously it would have been in West London. I can see the logistics of that. I live in London. I'm not trying to go over that part of London or anywhere that way on Sunday, Monday, really, probably even Tuesday, because all the hotels have been booked up. The city's kind of like overran with just things happening and people coming. So I can understand that one. But why has the United game been postponed, and why has the Brighton game been postponed? I mean, I looked at it, and again, someone might have a rational reason for why it's happened, so maybe I don't give my opinion on it yet. But I looked at it and I was like, well, I could see why Brighton might want the week off. They've just lost the manager and about half of the staff. Obviously, the Chelsea-Liverpool situation, it's in London, and I could kind of see why Liverpool might want a week off to regroup. Chelsea might want a bit of time to, get Tuchel bedded in. I don't really know whether United would have wanted a week off before coming to play City. They probably would have wanted to keep that momentum going, but it does just seem odd that certain teams have took it off, certain games are going ahead. Does anyone have any insight or understanding as to why that's happened, or any guesses?
Ask, did the teams choose, or were they told?
See, that's what I'm. That's what's.
But
They're going to say
they were told.
They're going to say they're going to say they were told. We don't know whether there's some kind. I mean, obviously these things are probably, if it's a police thing, then I'm guessing they're being told. But you do wonder as well whether there's some backroom conversations about, because it might be certain clubs might want to give their staff the weekend off, might want to take time off. Other clubs might be taking it more. Like, I've gone to certain businesses and they've took everything off the walls and put posters up and shut things down for certain days, and other things are just running as usual. So is it that, or is it that it's like logistically United, there's a particular reason why that can't go ahead? I mean, you might know better than us, James, what the situation is there, or just what they've been told.
Yeah, to be honest, I think we're looking into it a bit too much. I think United Leeds is a massive fixture. I know you guys may not get it, but historically, it's absolutely massive. It's one of the biggest rivalries in the country. I've done Leeds away a few times. Last time I had to get a police escort home. Like, it's rough, man. It's proper rough. So it's probably the most police game in the country, apart from maybe like Rangers Celtic. And it's absolutely like mad. So it will take police resources. I get that. You've also got a fact that I think one of the reasons a lot of the games were called off last week, and it kind of showed a little bit in the Liverpool Champions League game, is if you have a slight bit of disrespect, and it only takes a couple of fans to do that, that is going to make front page news, and that is something that the country don't want as a whole right now. Right.
So
I think it makes sense to postpone it. Yeah, I just think it's damage limitation, right? It's like they don't want that to happen. So United Leeds, that's obvious. There was calls for our game for Crystal Palace to be rearranged, but I think Palace were playing Brighton, but that's also off. But I got told that was due to like tram or train strikes or something, and was called off before this even happened. So I think that's why that game's been called off. And I think the United Leeds game and the Chelsea Liverpool game have been called off for big rivalries for obvious reasons. So I think we're looking
it makes sense.
Too much into it, to be honest. I really do.
I was looking for a conspiracy in there. I thought United might just be trying to, but then when I heard you were playing City next week, I thought, no way would United want that game off. They want to get in there, try get another win under the belt.
Yeah, Leeds are our whipping boys, mate. We literally over the last couple of seasons, 6-1, 5-2. We haven't had a poor performance against Leeds in years. However, with the nature of the defeats for them last season, there will be crowd trouble at that game, so there's no doubt about it. So I think it's pretty simple to see why it's been called off.
One thing we can say for definite, and that is for absolute definite, anything that happens with Man United, you have to take it with a pinch of salt, because they're notorious cheaters. That's what we know. Like, anything that we know about Man United, whatever, we don't know. There's always something with Man United.
That was a sick segue.
They always find a way to make it like something for them. Like, and again, like, it is what it is. But yeah,
okay.
We move.
Trust me, you got to understand.
There's no United fans that want the week off. No.
Now, listen, you got to understand though. Like, I'm from Manchester, Leeds, and United. It's a big rivalry there, and I can understand that. You get me? Unless you want Man's Head getting smashed in left, right, and centre. Yeah.
No. I'm not disputing that. But the point is, what I'm trying to say more is, like, Man United, if they wanted that game off, I wouldn't be surprised if they had, we want to do this. We're like, we know what they do. They've been buying refs. They've been buying things off for years, man. So look, it's Man United.
We bought a 3-1 win 2 weeks ago. We bought that as well.
I mean, you could say that, a fake sort of disallowed goal, all of that kind of stuff. You know, that's what Man United do.
I know we don't want to go run too much over that game, because we've been there and done that a little bit. But as an Arsenal fan, let me just ask the Arsenal fans. Obviously, that decision, a lot of Arsenal fans, a lot of football fans in general, was split as to whether that was, clear and obvious for them to go back to the VAR, regardless of whether it was or wasn't a foul. Do you feel like the next step for Arsenal, the next level they want to try and get to really separate yourselves from, say, United in terms of where you're at in your process, is to get to a point where even when the decisions are going against you, we can still manage a game, control a game, and come out with the results that we want? Because I remember the difference between the stage that City were at you know, X amount of years ago when we were transitioning to a title winning team and we were still getting fucked over by decisions against United, big decisions, big moments in the last day of the season against Tottenham when we were trying to get into the top four. I remember when decision could throw a whole season. And then when we got over that hurdle and got to that next level, it was like, obviously the level that we've set in recent years, decisions can't go against you in a game, and barring maybe the Real Madrid or some, and that wasn't a decision, but barring certain games where it can all just go, generally speaking, if you can control a game, dictate a game and play your style, then even with the decisions going against you, you should be able to go on and win 90% of them games. You know, do you feel like that is a lesson in that for you guys, or another kind of level of progression that you want to get to, where it's like we could have took that decision and not let it derail the rest of the game, where we ended up ultimately losing 3-1? Do you know what I mean? Other than that decision, there weren't really anything else that you could say out and out could have been cheating. All of their goals were like onside and didn't have fouls involved or anything. So it's a turning point in the game, which I agree and is valid and is emotional, but you guys have set such a standard at the start of this season where you want to get to that level where that doesn't derail a match or derail management. I don't know if that's me being a bit off centre. Sometimes as a City fan, I feel like I'm seeing it from a bit of a like up here.
I don't know if, and again, I probably will let Premsy go, but what I will say is I definitely do feel like there were decisions, maybe not for the goals, but just the way the game was refereed. For me, McTominay could have easily been sent off, and I'll leave it there.
Okay.
You know what? Yes. The bottom line of it is we lost the game, innit?
I agree.
We lost the game, yeah. No, true. We lost the game.
I said leave it there.
Listen. Look, the bottom line is we lost the game in it, yeah. And the reason we lost the game, it wasn't because United were a fantastic team. It's because we didn't eradicate the mistakes from our back line. We gifted goals to United, and obviously even the goal that we scored, it was very soft. When I look back at it, and who's this silly sausage? Let me block my man here chatting shit. So basically, Soz, I just got a short attention span. You get me? I see people chatting shit.
I was confused.
Away, you get me?
Yeah. Just chatting bare rubbish, man.
In the comments in it, yeah. So basically, we just got to win games. We can't leave it in the referee's hands. We can't leave it in anybody else's hands. We just got to go out there and absolutely demolish teams like United, demolish teams like Chelsea. We got to get big results against the big sides, and we can't leave it to nobody but ourselves. We lost at Old Trafford. We got to learn from that. When they come to the Emirates, it's a different ball game, innit? And that's just how I see it, bro. But I want to kind of move on from the United and Arsenal situation, bro. I've been trying to recover for the last 2 weeks. You get me?
I can imagine.
I was going to say, Premsy, like for me, right? I know I've moved past it. Look, like the games, it was 2 weeks ago. We lost. It was hurtful, but I do leave it feeling like, you know what? Like if we do kind of fix some of the silly mistakes, we'll be better off. And I kind of go back to where I look at with Spurs and I look at with Man United. You're not going to be able to continue to do the things you're doing this season and get to the goals and the ultimate goals that you want to get to, because it's not tangible enough. It's not good enough to play the way you're playing, not only because you're Man United, but the way you're playing is not conducive to continually winning. And for me, I've left it feeling it's more on Arsenal, not Man United. And I can go away almost feeling a little bit like I feel like okay with it. Like I looked at the game yesterday, Man City against Borussia Dortmund. The reason why, look, you what 2-0, yeah. Look, like well done, good on you.
Winning the league, winning the last. Sorry, we were 2-0 up. Ronaldo scored. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, Ronaldo's playing. Okay.
Finally turned up.
You know that guy.
Finally turned up this season. But yeah, like for me, look, I looked at the game yesterday, Man City against Borussia Dortmund, and you lot didn't play well for probably about 65 minutes, but you found a way to win because you've got world-class renowned players and you've got Haaland that can do that extra bit special. And I just think that's where Arsenal's next step is, starting to get really world-class or top quality that can make the difference in every single game. But for me, look, like I'm not upset. I was upset after the game because it's Man United, but I wasn't upset with the performance necessarily. And everyone can talk about tactics and stuff like that. Premsy said it. I've said it. I just think that Arteta kind of was a little bit naive. Well, actually, very naive at points as well in the game. And Gabriel made some sort of really rash and silly decisions. which led us to the mistakes, and that's it. And you kind of move on. I think it's very easy to kind of that dissect that game for Arsenal, and you move on to the next game. I don't think there's like a lot of nitpicking. You just put it in a locker. You know what's happened, and you move on. There's nothing else that you can really say, and that's why I do feel a little bit more optimistic, and I feel a bit happier because I know I'm going into this Brentford game now, and I would have went into that Everton game. I could put my house on it that will beat Everton. I'm pretty much certain I can put my house on it, and we're going to beat Brentford because the way we're playing, it leads to better performances. We're doing things, the way we're playing, the patterns of play, the way we're defending, the way we're attacking, the quality we have on the pitch, all of those things, plus Partey coming back, it means that we have a much, much better chance of winning rather than almost a bit of pot luck. You need a certain team to play a certain way for Man United to do well, which is just the counter-attacking. You need a certain way for teams for like Spurs because they find it difficult to unlock defenses. And that's just where I feel like Arsenal are a little bit further ahead because we have that quality to play against many different teams and do well against many different types of styles.
It might not even just be a quality thing as well. It might be that you guys have got like a philosophy and a style of play that you've established with a manager that's been there longer, and United might just need that bit of time where it's like, right, we have to just get wins now, and once we've got the wins and got the confidence and got the time, we can build our style of play and philosophy where we go and assert ourselves. But I did want to ask you guys about the Brentford and Arsenal game. I know probably, you know, Premsy and probably maybe yourself, Guna, you probably have other opportunities to speak about it before the game or not, but I was going to start a little bit back to front because I know you ain't got a game on this weekend, James, and ask you with the Brentford game with Arsenal kind of coming up against Brentford. Obviously you guys had a difficult time against Brentford a few weeks back, just so we can bring up some of the worst memories of the season so far for you. But do you think there's anything that Arsenal fans could maybe be underestimating about Brentford? What do you feel like you've seen in that Brentford side that might give Arsenal some problems? Because I feel like Brentford have looked good this season, and I wouldn't be maybe confident enough to put my house on it at this point that Arsenal will go there and get a win. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, listen, Brentford tore us apart in the first half earlier this season. They were superb. United were very, very poor, and United allowed Brentford to play like that, but they've still got to play like that and put 4 goals past us in a half, which is phenomenal. Big up to Ivan Toney, who got a call up to the England squad as well, and he was a big reason why he caused us a lot of problems in that game. And I think he'll cause Arsenal problems. Do I think Brentford will win? Probably not, but I think he will cause the centre-back some problems. He's physical, he's quick, his movement's very good, and I think they're going to have to be on it. And like Lee said, like, Arteta was naive in certain circumstances in certain moments of that game, and they've just got to be very careful how they defend and very careful about leaving spaces and stuff like that. Set pieces could be an issue. And listen, like, it's a tough game. I don't think, like, I wouldn't be putting my house on it. It does seem to be a rejuvenated Arsenal. It doesn't seem to be the papering over the cracked swans from the last couple of seasons. So it does seem like I would be more confident in them getting a result there this season. But it's not a given, man. It's the Premier League, and as we know, anyone can beat anyone on their day. Like, I didn't see us 4-0 down to Brentford at half-time. I really didn't.
I did.
Well, you might have done. Did you see you losing 3-1 to us as well? Because I saw that. It was on Sky, wasn't it? Oh, that was in the ground. Yeah, it was good. So I saw
I'll be honest, though, you're right, but even a broken clock's right twice a day. I will say that. Every dog has their day.
We'll be right at the Emirates as well then. That's twice a year.
I promise you, I'll be at that game. Make sure you're there. That's what I will say.
I will. I'll drive down the trams.
Yeah, come up with me, actually. We'll go to that game together, man. I'm telling you. And then on the way back, I'm going to be giving it you all the way.
I would have been right there at AFTV with you.
All you got to do in the car all the way back is North London forever on repeat all the way, mate. All the way home, bro. You know, you've been in that stadium when they played that at the start. It's mad. I want you to be saying that all the way home.
Do you know what? Yeah. Let me touch on this Brentford game, yeah, because I'm a little bit different on this Brentford game. I'm actually giving Brentford quite a lot of respect because if you look at Ivan Toney and look at his stats that he's developed this season, I think he scored 5 goals or something like that in the Premier League. I think he's like the 3rd highest in the league so far. 6 games, he's had 10 shots on target. So he's a guy who's not scared to shoot. And it's going to be a good test for our defence. Now, the one thing about our defence, and we know, is that he's got a mistake or two in it because Gabriel of late, especially Gabriel, he keeps fucking up. on a consistent basis, and we need to eradicate that out of the game. And players like Ivan Toney can pounce on them kind of mistakes. He's a player that can pounce on them kind of mistakes. So we have to really make sure that we go into this game. I want to see Thomas Partey starting. I don't want to see no fuckery and no Lukonga or anybody else starting. Get me put Partey in there, take him off 60 minutes. Hopefully the game's done by then, and take Brentford serious, you get me? Because we should win. We're playing well. We could take a lot out the United defeat. And to be honest, to the boys, it looks like everyone's got an extra week to train, to get fitter, to have a little bit of rest. So it should only push us and drive us for victory in this game. If we want to have a serious challenge of getting in this top four and cementing it, we have to be beating teams like Brentford, bro. Bread and butter, you get me? They might have done United 4-0, but it's going to be a total different game against us. I'm telling you now.
I like it. Good. I know I already heard what your prediction was for the game. Well, not your prediction, but feeling of confidence going into the game. So I'll ask you, how important do you feel like it is? I mean, you guys are still top of the table. So on one hand, you could say you could even afford to go to a Brentford and draw statistically in terms of points and still be in a good position. But how important do you feel like it is to kind of really bounce back with a win or even emphatic win after that United game to kind of keep that good feeling and that good talk that was around and behind Arsenal before the United game? Because the short memories in football, aren't there? And already it seems like people are forgetting how well Arsenal started the season.
I will say that I don't think we can afford. I don't feel like we can actually afford to drop any points, and the reason why is because we're in the third year of this cycle. So these smaller teams, no matter what you say, we have better quality. It's all about the mindset and how you turn up in the games. If we go to the game with the right mindset, we'll win the game because we have a lot more quality. Their best player is probably Tony. I also actually have a little bit of a soft spot for Josh De Silva, one of their players. From
Arsenal,
external anyway. But I know him from outside of that anyway, so that's why I kind of like him. But for me, their best player is Tony. Our best players, Jesus. But I could actually say Odegaard. I could say Saliba. I could say Saka. So we've got too much quality for them to not be worried about us. But I think for me, look, like I just feel like it's going to be not a simple, but I'll say a 2-3-0. I just can't see them. I can't see us not winning the game. I feel like we'll be quite comfortable. We know what they're going to do. We know their game plan. Man United were in disarray at the time when they played. They had their new players coming in. They had the issue with, I think, Ronaldo. That was when it was at the height, when he was talking about leaving, and they were playing in that dirty slime green kit, doing some stupidness on the pitch. So I just feel like for us, like we're in a different space to them right now. So I don't want to compare us to Man United. Look, we lost to them, but I'm not going to put us in the same boat as them at this moment in time. I just think that if we turn up with the right attitude, we've had a bit of time off, we've got Partey back now, so that'll be the first 11. Everyone's there, no one's injured. I think apart from Reece Nelson, we're good to go, man. Like and I think, as I said, just going back to it, there isn't a time to slack off now. I feel like we're going to be top of the league for the next couple of weeks. Like I don't see us losing against any team from now till sometime in October, if possibly even probably past that. I just can't see it. I really can't.
But can I ask you something? Because I'm intrigued because we talk about short-termism and like short memories and all this. And I want to know from an Arsenal point of view, like what's different this season? Because Arsenal have out quality people on the pitch for years. You can look at your squad and you can argue that you've had quality on the pitch better than opposition that you've continually lost to for years. So is there a sudden shift in mentality that you've seen this season? Or is it just the fact that you had 4 wins on a bounce at the start of the season that's given you this false sense of security that you're now mentality monsters and you're going to go to Brentford and walk over them and Everton because you've always had the quality to beat the opposition? That's never in doubt.
I mean, not always.
I was going to say, I feel like right now, I think there's a couple of things. I think you can't understate how well Saliba's doing for us at the back. I think he's understated at this moment in time, even though people still rate him. I just don't feel like they're putting him in the level at the levels that he should be. And I feel like when we had quality, we were almost there. Like we had Van Persie, who was that top level, and then we had some really good players. But I feel like right now we've got quality all over the pitch. We've got Zinchenko, who's doing a great job. Our keeper, people don't like him, but I feel like he does a great job. I feel like all over the pitch, the quality is all the same. We're all fighting. And that Fulham game that I went to, you can just see we constantly keep going. We constantly keep push. Everyone's fighting for each other. And there is I wouldn't say there's a mentality monster in the sense of we are ruthless, but I think there's a shift in mentality with the team and how they're playing and how they work and fight for each other. And I think that's what puts us in a position where we might even not play well for the first 20 minutes, but we know how good we are. We know the quality we have, and we know that we can get goals, and we know that we can score. And look, Jesus does add a bit of sauce into that game, and he does make it a little bit of an X factor for us because he's so unpredictable, and he's making Martinelli better. He's making Saka better. He's making Odegaard look like a different kind of captain. So I just think that there are so many factors. And then you go to the bench, we've still got ESR, we've still got Fabio Vieira. So we've got a little bit of a better bench, whereas for the last 12 years, we've had a good 11 or good 9. And then we kind of were wavering a little bit. So I think there are a couple of reasons why I feel like we're in a good position at this moment in time.
Yeah. You see, you mentioned it, but I just want one thing I do agree with, and I think the difference is from the outside looking in is the whole spirit thing, because I do think you've had quality for a while, but if you look at the players that have made mistakes this season, they've then gone and made up for it at the other end, or they've done something. And whenever Arsenal concede, they tend to score quite quickly afterwards. Yeah. I think there's a completely different mentality around that club. I don't know when it happened, but that's what I'm looking at. I don't think. Listen, we can argue, but I don't think you've got world beaters all over the pitch. I think you're still in a team that's fighting for each other, and all of a sudden they look like better players. I get slated all the time for talking about passion, desire, passion merchants, this, McTominay, this, blah, blah, blah. And we need quality technical players. You're in the Premier League. You need people to fight for each other week in, week out on a football pitch. And at the end of the day, you can have whatever quality you want. But if the other team wants it more than you, 9 times out of 10, that team will win. And that's the difference.
You know what, though, yeah? What a lot of people seem to forget, yeah? The reason why we've had a good start is because of pre-season, yeah? There's been a very, very long time that Arsenal Football Club had fucking pulled their socks up and signed players early, yeah? Now, I've been asking for it for years because when you bring in star quality early, yeah, it gives them time to bed into the team. It gives all the players motivation around them to think, you know what, we've just got fucking Premier League winners here. You know what I mean? It gives everyone that lift. And now that chemistry, that togetherness that we developed in pre-season, you're seeing something good there. And we brought that straight into the season. And this is where I'm a little bit different on I'm pretty much on the same kind of wavelength as Lee, but I'm a bit more reserved because we've been battered for 18 years of shitness. You get me? So I just see it as it is. At the end of the day, I'm an Arsenal fan. I'm always going to back my club against anybody, but I'm realistic as well. In the window, we didn't sign a midfielder, and we didn't sign, for me, another striking option. Yeah, for me, big mistake, because stuff like that will make us become unstuck, just like the United game. Because if we had a Thomas Partey in there, I guarantee you it'd be a total different situation, because you win games in midfield. You can't win games if you got a dead midfield. I'm telling you now for a fact. So I think with the difference this season, James, going off what you're saying, I think pre-season's had a massive part to play in it. When we've gone to the stadium, there's a massive lift in atmosphere. There's a massive lift in positivity. Everybody's singing off the same hymn sheet. Before you even walk onto the pitch before kickoff, it's a madness inside where you're buying your drinks from at the kiosks. You haven't seen Arsenal like that for years. And I think that's all coming into play. And that is having a massive, massive reason why the Arsenal players, the Arsenal fans are starting to all get excited a bit. But I must say, we've got to rein it in a little bit, though, still, because for me, a good season would be finish comfortably in the top 4 and winning the Europa League for me, you get me? Because at the end of the day, I keep saying it time and time again, it's embarrassing being in this competition and not fucking winning it. You get me? It makes no sense to me. But that's where I stand on it, Tom. But I think we'll move on to, forgetting United and Arsenal now, we move on to Todd Bowie and what he's been.
I was going to say to you, do you want to jump to Chelsea? Well, there's a few. I was going to say we can either go Chelsea, we can go City, or we can go Leicester and Spurs. But if we're going to go Chelsea and Ted Bowie, I don't think we can. We haven't spoke yet on Premier League Unpacked about the Tuchel sacking either. So we can kind of maybe talk kind of in general about some of the decisions that he's been making over there. Do you want to start with what's been going on at Chelsea with Ted Bowie, or do you want to talk about the All-Star North versus All-Star South?
We'll talk about the sacking first, and then we'll obviously move into the North versus South, because for me, I think it's quite a big talking point. I want to get Lee's thoughts on that as well, and yours, and James, wherever he's gone. Should be back soon.
He'll be back.
He's probably having a feast over there because Man United are winning. He thinks they're going to win the Champions League, even though they're in Europa League somehow.
Sorry, man. Like I cut out. I didn't hear question. Didn't hear the topic or anything. My internet's been a madness. So.
Yeah, we'll just bring you back up to speed. We'd said we had a few options of where we could jump next, but we've moved over to Chelsea and Ted Bowie in particular. So we're going to have a quick chat about the Tuchel sacking and just some of the decisions he's been making since he's come into Chelsea, and then we're going to touch on the All-Star North versus All-Star South concept that he's kind of put forward. So we were just about to start on the sacking. I think Gunnar, would you gonna give us your thoughts on how what you think about the decision, how you feel about it?
Yeah, do you know what? It's a weird one because people know, like, on my channel, like I've been saying everywhere, like I just don't rate Tuchel. I think he's so overrated. I just don't know what people see in him. He was riding that Champions League wave all the way to Azkaban. Like the guy just wouldn't stop with this whole Champions League stuff. Look, you can't fault him. He done it. He did it. He beat like Real Madrid. He beat Man City in the final. So look, fair play. But I just don't think he's good enough for Chelsea. And ultimately, I feel like they were setting him up to sack him anyway, because when you come into a new establishment, you want to put your mark on it. You want your man. You want your all female, whoever it is. So that's where I was at. I mean, everyone keeps talking about this Aubameyang thing, but they gave him Aubameyang on the last day of the transfer window. So I don't feel like it was a signing for him anyway. I just feel like it was just someone to help because they were in a desperate situation. So that's where I am at with it. But for me, look, like it's hard because I like Potter. I really like Potter, and when I saw that they were linked to him, I got a bit worried. But then I just keep looking at their squad and I keep looking at their team, and they're just so blunt up top. They're not good enough. They're not good enough up front, and ultimately, you're relying on Ziyech and you're relying on Werner, you're relying on Havertz, apologies, to score you your goals. You're getting nowhere fast. You know that you're getting nowhere fast. So it's a difficult one, man. It's hard, but in a funny way, I actually want Potter to do well, but just not well enough to kind of get above Arsenal. Like that's all I care about. Like, because I actually like him. I think he's got some. Look, we got to remember, like, at the end of the day, he beat us in of when he was Osterson. I don't know if you remember, like he beat us in the, was it Europa League? I think we played them. I think and he was doing bits against us. So look, like he's a good manager, man. I think he's a good manager. And look, Chelsea look to be changing their the way that they're running the club. They're buying younger players. They bought, I think, quite well established young players as well, changing the way that they're kind of doing their transfer policy. So they're trying to buy teams in Portugal. They're trying to be like the new Man City, the new Red Bull kind of establishment. So look, let them get on with it, man. Let them get on with it.
So now you've mentioned Man City, I feel like I should run next because I'm not buying it with them. I think even if they're trying to make moves like us, I think there's too much scattiness coming from this Ted Bowie. I don't think he's giving me any of the vibes of the Sheikhs or like some of these other people that are running clubs in a very formulaic kind of intelligent and kind of seemingly well thought out kind of way. Do you know what I mean? I think he seems already like he's making a lot of emotional decisions, a lot of maybe ego-based decisions. I mean, it was already weird when he got rid of the football directors and head of football and all of these people during the transfer window. So now it's like, well, is he now making the transfers like he's playing Football Manager or something? I mean, I've got mixed feelings with Tuchel because I was similar. I was on this channel for a while kind of harping on about how I feel like people brushed over the work that Lampard had done putting together that team, and then kind of Tuchel, you know, kind of got to come in midway through and secure a Champions League. But at the end of the day, he did win one. I think Tuchel's also got a little bit of that Mourinho about him, where it's like he's got quite a bullish manner and it can win you things and then it can implode. And I think he maybe has that potential where you could see that happening at Chelsea or at other places where it's like, you know, you can almost win through, you know, pissing some people off, and, you know, some people love you and then other players are pushed to the sidelines and are like ostracized, and sometimes for a period that can create like amazing results, but then at a certain point it's like that's not consistent, and it's not long term. So all the dramas he had with Lukaku, I think it was Hudson-Odoi or one of those guys that had been treated quite badly by him early on. There were certain things that he was doing that I just didn't agree with, just as a man and as a character on TV. So I don't have the most sympathy for him. I've probably got more sympathy for Brighton. I mean, I don't know if either of you guys, Premsy or James, obviously give me your thoughts on the sacking, but how do you feel about this if you're Brighton? Do you know what I mean? You've built something over there, and big fish eats little fish. They've just come and not only took your manager, but it took your director of football, they took your coaches, they took your flipping lunchroom staff, they took the cleaners, they took everybody.
Go on, James, let you go.
No worries, man. But yeah, that's life of a smaller football club, unfortunately, isn't it? Ajax have just had a very similar thing, losing Ten Hag and losing half their squad to us. It's just the nature of football. If you're a smaller club, excuse me, and you do well, eventually your talent is going to be scouted by elsewhere. So I do feel sorry for them, but it's happened to them before. I mean, they came to Old Trafford and beat us 2-1. And you've got to remember, they probably lost their two best players in Basuma and Cucurella before they came to that. So everyone thought United would walk all over Brighton, and they didn't. I know they had Potter and loads of their backroom staff at that point, but it just shows that clubs can bounce back. So yes, I do feel sorry for them, but at the end of the day, that's the life cycle of a football club. It's going to happen. They have to move on, unfortunately. They have to make an appointment. They have to have a new long-term vision. They have to find players that fit that vision, and they have to go. And I know it's a couple of people laughing and stuff, and that's absolutely fine. What I would touch on is it's quite ironic that the Arsenal fans and the City fan don't really quite get the importance of winning the European Cup or Champions League, because between you've won it 0 times. So
yeah, bro, one minute, bro.
No
We've never been that shit. We've never been that shit to get relegated, fam. You get me? So don't even talk to me like that.
No. I
don't even know what's going on here. Why you're trying to throw shade?
No one said that. We were just talking about, like, sometimes you're right. Like, you're right. You won 3, and it took you how many years? To win 2 anyway.
1878 we were born, and we've won 3. Whereas you were born in 1900, and you've never won 1.
Yeah.
So the ratio is still better, whichever way you look at it.
It happens, but look, like, as I said, even a crook.
It has happened for Arsenal. It happens, but it hasn't happened.
Broken clocks right twice a day, and it will happen. Right. But what I will say is, no one said that it's nothing to do with winning. It's the way that you win and how you. If you look at his record in the Premier League, he's got, I think, a record worse than Lampard. And you can't go on like that and pretend that you're this big top manager with the worst home record in the last 30 years. Not with, like, in the last 15 games, comparison to Lampard when he was at Chelsea, he had an even worse record. Like, you can't just keep going off and ticking off these kind of terrible records and continue at a club like Chelsea at this moment in time. And that's where I go.
Yeah, of course you can't. And that's what happened to Wenger towards the end of his reign, right? He was obviously fantastic. And then eventually, results talk, right? Eventually, you get to that point. But what I'm saying is that realistically, if either of your clubs won the Champions League, you'd have a statue outside your ground of the manager that won it, because it would be the first time in history. So it is a big deal. Like, it's a really big deal. The managers that have won us the European Cup are our 2 greatest managers in history. So Matt Busby and Sir Alex Ferguson, arguably the 2 greatest managers in history.
But you're still not making sense, because Tuchel is not the best manager in Chelsea's history. It doesn't matter.
No, but that has a massive importance. Like, the fact that they've won the biggest. Like, listen, he was never going to.
It wasn't the first time they won it. It wasn't the first.
I was going to say that is. It is a big one, that though, because they've.
Let me jump in for 2 seconds, because I actually agree with James to a certain extent. And the reason I do agree with him is because, personally, if I was a Chelsea fan and they sacked Tuchel, I'll be devastated. You know why I'd be devastated? Because I understand Graham Potter is a good manager. He's a good coach. He's probably one of the most promising English talents that are around right now. And he's doing it in the Premier League with a shit team like Brighton that I don't have the resources. You get me? Obviously, he's built that team to what it is. But prior to that, he didn't have none of these players. He's had to build that. So I can understand why Chelsea are moving in that direction. But right now, I just think it's the wrong time. I think with the new ownership coming in, not really getting their feet settled, just playing FIFA manager, buying Tom, Dick and Harry, I feel like they should have kept a manager like Tuchel with a bags full of experience, especially at the top level, potentially for the end of the year. And if it don't work out, they're not on the same page or whatnot, then go in for a Graham Potter. But I can at the same time understand why they've gone in for Potter, because they don't want to miss out on him in it. So it's a bit of a funny situation, but I understand both of you as well, bro. I get both points, man. But don't keep trying to throw shade at Arsenal, you know, because we ain't no dead club, you know. But we won the league at your ground.
It's pointless, bro. Yeah, that's the whole point. Like that's where when I get it. Look, like you winning the Champions League is an amazing feat, and we haven't done it. We can't talk about it. I don't know the feeling. No, not even the Champions League. You winning the major European cups. I can't talk about it. But what I will say is that people go on like Arsenal are this tiny tin pot club, and that's what I just find out. No, not you. I'm talking in general, and that's what I find funny. But what I will say is when you win the Champions League, there is a lot of potluck. There is a lot of the way you win the Europa League, the way you won Europa League when you beat Ajax. Look at the teams you had to beat. There was a lot of potluck in that. Whereas when you win the league, it's the real hardship, playing the teams week in and week out, home and away. I just feel like there's a lot more that goes into it. But look, it's an amazing
we've also got more of them than you, if you want to count.
Yeah, no. And that's what if you're going to talk about that, then we can talk about that.
We play. I had my tick off bingo. I was literally waiting for the Invincible season to come off. It's all I've got left to tick off. Could someone mention it?
I don't think that's comment. That's not comment.
I don't need to. But you don't have one of those, though. I will say
that. But this is what I mean. United fans are daft in it, because you know what? You got to give props to where props are due in it. No one to this day has won the Premier League with 91 points and got a gold Premier League trophy. People talk about the Centurions. 9 points away, mate. That's it.
Exactly that. They always say, fantastic team.
Use man with your greatest ever team couldn't do it. You get me? So it's one of them. You got to give people props.
Fantastic achievement.
You get me? We won the most FA. We won the most FA Cups in English history. We're not.
Apparently, it doesn't matter now, Primsy. And now apparently, it doesn't matter.
We've done bits. At the end of the day, I'm hands up and say, yeah, United have won more. United are technically a bigger club. That's fine. But when it comes to Arsenal, bro, you need to realise we've got heritage, bro.
What were you saying about the points?
Your club went out for 30 years without even winning the league, bro. And if you know your club, you know it, innit? Exactly.
What was you saying about points? Was you giving City props when you said about the points thing?
What I'm saying is people rave about 100 points, which is a good achievement, Listen, before you start getting started.
An amazing achievement.
I thought that's what he was. I couldn't tell if he was saying City having the top 3 out of the top 5.
Well, ask me the question. Ask me again. Let me tell you, innit?
Because I thought I'm catching bare shade in the corner. I ain't said nothing. We're out here doing records.
What I'm saying is people when they compare leagues of who's the best Premier League team, the Centurion team always comes up, which I agree they're a fantastic team. They won it with 100 points. Arsenal won the league unbeaten with 91 points, bro. Not 75, 91 points. That's a massive achievement, bro.
Oh, definitely.
We won the league at Old Trafford. We won the league at Anfield. We won the league at White Hart Lane. We won the league at Old Trafford. How many other clubs can say that?
That's fixtures though as well. Like we haven't had the option to win it there.
No, but what I mean is you got to understand.
But I get what you're saying. They're big moments.
Yeah. We went there and did what we had to do.
I think the problem for Arsenal fans is you feel like you give the respect that United, when it comes to that part of the conversation, what you've won. I feel like a lot of Arsenal fans feel like we'll give you the respect that you are those guys and have won those trophies, and you try little brother Arsenal like they're not also an established winning, household name in English football. So then they not get the backup, but it's like they have to start reeling off some of the statistics to let man.
Yeah, it's just all they say is Champions League. I understand we didn't win it, but there's loads of teams that haven't got a gold prem. There's loads of teams that we haven't been relegated. We haven't never been that shit in our life to get relegated. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? So
everyone's going to have an attachment to their records and their thing, right? Like as a City fan, you're obviously as a City fan, you're going to think the biggest moment in Premier League history is Aguero in 20. Like you're just going to think that in 2012. Of course you are. Arsenal, you're going to think about your Invincibles because it's a huge feat that no one else has accomplished. And United, I'm going to think about that treble winning team, 08 team. So you're always going to have a bias towards your team's achievements. That's just the way it is. You can still appreciate all the others, and I do. I just like poking fun and stuff, that's all, and catching big sharks and whales and fish. It's fun.
And you know what, bro? I am a little bit jealous. I'm not gonna lie. You get me? Like I'm fully hands come here and put my hands up. I want the Champions League. Is one trophy that we've not got in it. I want that. It's what I'm saying is, it's not you, James. Don't get it twisted. It's just all United fans.
In general,
I think I live in Manchester, in it. You got to understand in it. I live in Manchester and I've repped Arsenal from day dot, bro, with my heart on my sleeve. You get me? Ain't no one can tell me no different. And what I'm trying to say is, yeah, the one thing United fans need to realise, yeah, is that when fair enough, you've won a Champions League, you've won 2, 3 Champions Leagues, whatever it is, I understand, but we're not a club of shit stature. We're a club of real heritage and history, you get me? We've won a lot of shit, bro. 13 league titles. 14.
Nobody knows football says that, friends. Nobody knows football says that. No one.
Oh, bare United fans, bro. What are you talking about, man?
No one knows football says that. I said.
Yeah, but that's all I'm saying. Just give us a little bit of. Don't kill us off too much in it. We haven't won the Premier in 18 years. I get it, but Raz, we're still there. We're still got one of the biggest fan bases. We're still touching along in it and trying to.
Yeah. I'm empathizing with everyone on this stream because I used to think United fans used to do my head in growing up in Manchester, obviously, especially when we was the worst of the bunch of the teams here, you know, going through. You guys ain't never experienced relegation in your lives, and you know there's some other things there that I've had to experience as a Blue. But I think coming to London and meeting some of the United fans down here, now it's like a breath of fresh air when I speak to United fans from up north sometimes, because you know a lot of you come down here and the amount of United fans I bump into that are from North London, East London, West London that are like, City, why'd you support City? And I'm like, wait. I grew up a stone's throw from the walking distance down the road to the ground. Why do you support United? Do you know what I mean? So I can understand why Gunnar Lee gets stressed with United fans because he's grown up with London United fans. I can understand why James is giving it, you know, back in his thing because he's from Manchester, he supports United, he's seen the glory years, and Prem has just had to live through all the years of United being who they are, and now all the years of who City are who they are in Manchester amongst all of it, growing up 2 minutes from the City ground. Like Prem could have been a Blue, man. He could see the City ground from his window, man.
I was going to ask you though, like for real, like I know
in the family, it's different.
You're from Man United, yeah? So why would you not support Man United if?
Because my dad's from London. I know.
Oh, you speaking to me now, or
I'm saying why do you support Man City?
City, I think what a big misconception, especially for football fans in London, and especially because a lot of football fans in London just support Liverpool, Arsenal. Like it's not who your nearest team is that like in Manchester it's going to be mostly United fans, and whilst in the world,
big up my dad in the cup. Arsenal
big up every time, pops. Love that. Love that. And that's the root. So whilst round the world, there's more United fans than City fans. But growing up in Manchester, if you come to Manchester, you'll see the city is blue and red. Like there's families that are split down the middle. Like it's like Liverpool with Everton, and Liverpool is never. If you grew up in Manchester, you never felt like you was outnumbered by United fans. Like and there was the City families. Like my pops is a blue, my uncle was a blue. Like from way before I was here, way before the money, way before any of this, my family was and has been blue. The other thing is if you're from South Manchester, so if you're from Moss Side, Bushholm, OT, Wally Range, Levenshulme, Longside, a lot of these areas, Stockport, East Manchester, Manchester City has been historically your closest club because United's over kind of towards West Manchester. We're going over really Old Trafford, Stretford. I should have put that in that conversation, but Salford, you start going over that way, you're going to hit more of a concentrated thing of United fans. Same way if you go Stockport or Hyde, you're going to come across a lot of City fans. It don't always divide down the middle like that, but in Manchester you support one or the other, unless you're like Premsy where it's in your family. And I know of a man who got Liverpool family or Arsenal family, you don't just pick Chelsea or pick West Ham. It's not done like that up north, so that's why it's always weird for us sometimes when you meet maybe a United fan from London who's like, I just chose United because I liked United. You know what I mean? I'm sure that wasn't James's, option. It's like either that's my family or I'm from Manchester and that's my local club. So I have kind of that right to choose them, same way you with Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? So obviously for me, it was in the family. It was a no-brainer and I got to see the full journey. I seen us relegated. I was there for Rooney's overhead kick at Old Trafford. I was there for the 6-1 at Old Trafford. I was there for Aguero's goal. I seen the full thing, do you know what I mean? So I'm in a unique position compared to this next generation of Blues, but that's me as a Blue, giving my little chip.
No, I hear that. Listen,
had to, because I'm down here, I never get to say it, but go on.
Listen, bossy, we got fucking 2 minutes left, We ain't talked about Todd Bowley, you know what I'm trying to say, the all-star team and that.
It's a big combo, that. Go on.
You know what I'm saying, Look at it, At the end of the day, you can support your own team, and every fan should just be back their own club.
100%.
That's all it is. Because if you ain't a fan of your own club and you ain't backing your club, bro, then it's a joke thing. And obviously with me, bro, I've had it hard. You get me? Because I could have chose to be a City fan or a United fan, and that I didn't. I just went with whatever my dad was. You get me? Brought up and raised in Moss Side. City Stadium was there. Could have been my team, really, but I weren't glory hunting because United were on top, bro. You get me? So it's none of that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Where you go to London, you see all these United fans chatting pure shit, and you don't even know what they're talking about, bro. Is that a mad thing? But anyway, yeah. Before you got to go, because I know these two got to go at 7, yeah? So I just want to get your thoughts on the All-Star teams with the Todd Bowley suggestion being put forward.
All-Star North versus All-Star South.
Yeah,
listen, I'll say go, James, you go. James, you go.
Sorry, man. Like, it depends how it's run, to be honest. Like, I'm a big fan of American sport. Obviously, All-Star games are good over there. And if it's another game to fit in the calendar, then it's probably not going to work because we've already got a congested calendar. And I think if they make it interesting for all teams, so if they limit the amount of players that you can get from each team, so say the squad has to have 2 players from each squad, like from each team in there, then I think it's really interesting. Because at the moment, realistically, I'm not ashamed to say it, that team up north is majority City's team, to be fair. And the team down south is probably a bit more mixed. But if they make it so that you get a certain amount of players from each team, it's competitive. If they do it for some kind of charity and raise money, then I'm all for it. They could potentially replace the Community Shield because no one seems to care about that anymore. But yeah, like, I think everyone's reacting to it like it's such an outlandish thing, like it should be. Like, it's a ridiculous idea. I don't think it's ridiculous. I think we live in the 21st century. I think it's something that we should be discussing. Whether it happens or not, we'll see. Like, I'm not massively for it, but I'm definitely not as against it as most people are seeing.
Yeah, do you know what I was going to say? Sort of similar. I love NFL. I love NBA. I watch it religiously every week. Well, NFL started last week, and the NFL's All-Star games are horrible. The NBA All-Star games are good, but there's no defense. I just feel like there's absolutely no purpose because it's not going to be played to the quality that it should be. And then when you think about it logically, are you going to get an even team? Because you just said that most of the team in the North will probably be Man City. I don't think it. I think it will be Liverpool because the fans, unfortunately, will probably vote majority Liverpool players, or you get all the sort of main pundits in the sort of media. They're all Liverpool fans, so they're going to pick majority. That's what I feel anyway. So for me, I just don't feel like it's worth it, even though I would want it to happen. My other problem is that I just don't want any of my players to get injured having to play a star-studded game. My last point is the reason why I don't want it is because I just don't want money going into the FA because I just feel like they're crooks. That's the only that's my main reason why I don't want the game to go ahead. But overall, I think it'll be a good spectacle. But I just don't think there's any time in the calendar. I just think it's pointless.
No, I think it's a messenger. If it had been someone else had said it, not Todd Bowley, who's come in like a bull in a china shop at Chelsea. If it had been Gary Neville or someone that's kind of respected.
Rio Ferdinand said it, and this was a couple of years ago. And Gary Neville came out on his high horse, pretending that he's prime minister, saying, "Oh, like this and that about Todd Bowley," but then someone tweeted him saying, well, hold on a second. Rio Ferdinand said this a couple of years ago. You didn't say anything about him then. But you know, Gary Neville, he's got his agendas.
But that's relevant, no? That's relevant, no? That someone who's played in the Premier League for years and is from this and can put forward something that's going to drastically shift the culture as opposed to some guy that's just come in with money from America or trying to Americanize the game. Like, there is some validity in certain people can say certain things that other people were going to take it differently if it's somebody else saying it.
If Gary Neville's saying, do you know what? I don't think that it should be there because it's American. It's Americanized. Okay. And it's from these guys coming and trying to take over. But you've got other people that you've played with who are English saying that no, I think it's a good idea. A couple of years prior, you're talking at both sides of your mouth. You either attack everybody or you don't attack anyone. So that's just where I leave it at, you know. But for me, I'm not going to sit here and say that anyone's wrong. I feel like if you bring a valid kind of way to do it, I think the way that you, as James said, look, make it a limited cap for certain teams and stuff like that, that'll be good. But I just don't want people kind of shunning people and saying this and that about some just because they're from another country. Because what's that about? Like, what? Because because he's from America, he's less than someone else, or because I live like 20 minutes from Emirates, I'm a better fan than another Arsenal fan that lives in India or in Africa. Like, well, like you can't do that, man. Like, and that's where my issue comes from. But look, like, as I said, for me, I just look at it and I say it will be an amazing idea, but let's see in it. Like, if they get rid of internationals, I'm all for it.
Right, people, I know James and Guna Lee have to bounce at 7 o'clock. I do appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming on. Obviously, hopefully more shows to come with the boys. And obviously me and Bish are going to keep chopping it up for a little bit more. But
Definitely.
boys, if you get a couple minutes free in a bit and you want to jump back on, jump on. But
I got 5 minutes. I got 5 minutes.
How you doing, James? How are you doing for time? You need to make moves.
Yeah, I've got to shoot off. Unfortunately, I've got a dinner reservation, so I've got to go. But big up, man. Big up, friends.
Yes.
Big up, Una. Really enjoyed it, man.
Make sure you keep an eye out for James's channel that's coming out soon as well. You get me? A bit of fitness, a bit of football. And show him the guns, James. Show him the guns.
I can't, mate. What?
You know what?
You got 2 bodybuilders down here.
I'm gonna say you might be as big as me, mate. You might be as big as me. I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe we'll see. Big as Arsenal's title hopes, yeah. See you later.
Zoom. Mic drop. Love it.
You know what? Top guy, James. Top guy, very knowledgeable. And you know what, as well, he's actually honest with his assessments as well. He isn't one of these United fans that are just very deluded as well. That's why I got a lot of respect for him. But let me give you my quick thoughts on the this situation, and then obviously we'll go back to Bish. But I just think, see the European Super League? I think that's had a big factor in a lot of the people's opinions, because the one thing about English people, and I'm talking about all of us included that follow the English game, we don't like change. We don't like change, and that is fact. So when somebody from overseas comes into the country and they've just took over a club and they've got new ideas, maybe it is for him to learn. Maybe he can just wait a little bit, throw them ideas out a little bit later on down the line when he's built up them relationships and stuff like that. Because we know the pundits like Gary Neville and everybody like that. After the European Super League, it was all a madness, bro. You get me? Nobody wanted to hear anything about it. But personally, if it can make money and they give that money out to the lower leagues and it's going to help, I don't see a problem in it, to be honest. If it's a one-game thing, then that's it, innit? If it's just a one-game thing, innit, then I don't really have an issue with it or anything like that. Bish?
Yeah, man. I mean, kind of similar thoughts to both of you. I mean, I think just to clarify on what I was saying earlier, I couldn't agree with you more, Gunnar. Like, obviously a fan is a fan wherever they're from. I wasn't kind of trying to get at that with what I was saying before, you know. But I think with the American thing, it's a little bit different because it's not about them being American per se. Like, oh, we don't want people from Germany owning clubs. I think it's because there is a bit of a consistent theme that we're seeing with American owners in the Premier League, whether that's with, you know, the Glaziers at United, whether that's with, you know, the Liverpool owners and some of the problems there was over there before they started winning, whether that's some of the issues that Arsenal have had, whether that's the European Super League, which again was kind of big American money, and people that own a lot of American sports teams looking at the Premier League like an untapped financial resource. And oftentimes looking over here and looking at, okay, how can we adjust things? How can we shift things to be more similar to our system so that we can cash out with these cash cows like how the Glaziers are with United? I'm not obviously against American people being involved in football. And I actually quite like the idea of the All-Star North and the All-Star South. You've seen how into it I was getting before about being a City fan from Manchester or London. And I think that could make it a bit different to the NBA and the NFL, that it could add a little bit of a, where us as Northerners get a little bit into like, all right, I'm kind of rooting for the up north team, even though it's all of our rival clubs in the same squad. Do you know what I mean? And even that, getting to see players that usually you would have thought like rival players put together in a team on a united front against whatever, you know, against that could be cool if they got it right. And like maybe like James said, 2-3 guys, but I do think it's a messenger thing. I think Todd Bowley is doing too much all at once to think you can just, you know, just lay that out.
Do you know, I want to ask both of you this question. Premsy, if we did the game, are you supporting Harry Kane scoring a goal?
Bro, fuck Harry Kane, you know what you're talking about.
Well, who are you backing, Premsy, first? Who are you backing?
I'm backing the North, innit? If
that's why I'm saying it's interesting, because you're not backing necessarily Arsenal, you're backing North or South. So for Prem, it would be a funny one.
But you know what? You're right. But for me, and I was like, I just can't get behind a man from another club scoring a goal, bro. Like, I'll be honest with you, I'm not that guy. To even if no matter what, bro, I'm not supporting any other players like that, bro. I can't do it, bro. I can't put my heart into it. So I just feel like even that in itself, it's a little bit it's a little bit funny. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's a hard one, man. It's a hard one. So,
do you not think it'll mess up the rivalries though if man start playing and being friends with each other and all that? Arsenal Tottenham players and that.
But let's say it was two. You only allowed 2 players from each club. Do you reckon just off the cuff now we could?
It's not all second. Because I got man from Crystal Palace that are like, do you know what I mean? Let's say, for example, Zaha, he might not make the winger's position, so I've got to take, I don't know, Mitchell, for example, a good player, but man's not all-star, so it's dead.
But that would. But I think a lot of these. I think a lot of these. Masters North yourself.
No, I'm laughing at Kid Ali. He's 100% right.
Yeah. Yeah,
no, but it's true though. Fact. Like, hold on.
But I don't think they would do that. They'd put Zaha in there, and then they'd pick a player that's from another position from another club where they haven't got.
No, but check me out though. Yeah, check me out. Like more time. All right, up north. Yeah, let's say the divide is what.
Let's run the squad. Birmingham? Let's say it was two man a team, and let's just leave Birmingham out because there's no real decent clubs from Birmingham at the moment anyway. So let's say up north we're going.
Is the line from Birmingham up?
Well, I think. That's where it would get techie, but I'm saying because Aston Villa are the only team, and really, would you even take anyone from Aston Villa? Even now, if he was just to try run an 11, you could have Newcastle, Liverpool, City, United, Everton. Who else is up north? That's up north, not Midlands.
Yeah,
I need to look at my.
We're not talking
Norwich and man there, like
Birmingham. You know what? Currently, Birmingham would have to go up north because you have got all the South Coast as well, like Bournemouth and Brighton and that. So
Southampton.
So it would have to be Villa go up with us up there, and then you got all the London clubs, and then you got Bournemouth.
Oh yeah. So
Brentford.
If I was gonna do north, right, I'm definitely gonna take De Bruyne and Haaland. I think those are your best players from Man City, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say 100%. But
yeah, they're the best. I'm just wondering whether you would pick the best from each team, or you try and make the best team by saying, all right, who's Newcastle's best players?
And that's my point. So if I chose that's what I'm saying. You might not get a Zaha in the team because you got Saka and I don't know Martinelli, for example. Oh no, maybe not much. So you get my point.
But I would work it back.
Son.
But I'm saying I would work it backwards because the smaller teams ain't got as much choice. I'd say, right, who's Newcastle's best players? Let's take from Newcastle. Let's take flipping St. Maximum and Trippier, let's say. All right, let's take them positions and lock them out because they ain't got much else to offer in other positions. And I don't want Chris Wood up front because I've used up all of the City and Arsenal, you know. So I would probably start with Newcastle or put Zaha on the wing because at Arsenal, you don't need to put Martinelli in there because we could take Partey, we could take Saliba, we could take Jesus. You got more to choose from. So I'd probably try and go to some of the other clubs you're going to involve with that haven't got as many star players, pull 1 or 2 from there. And then when you've got 5-6 positions left, pick the best from Arsenal and Chelsea or from City. But then it won't be all-stars. You're right. It won't be all-stars then. Then it's...
Yeah,
it's not all-stars. Yeah.
My thing is then... You lose the product because if Todd Bowley's saying it's an all-star game, for me, I'm not infused by watching Trippier. He's a good player, but he's not all-star. And that's what I think we have to. You have to kind of know what the man is, man.
No, I'm not laughing at you, boys. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at this.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking, bro, like Xhaka, like man's like, come on, bro, like it's not feasible. Like, do you know what I mean? Or again, for me, if I want to see the creme de la creme. I'm thinking about Champions League, right? Bro, why do I want to watch the North, the divide, bro? I might as well just go and watch Champions League because that's the prem. That I know it's the North versus South, but I just want to see the best players in it. If I want to see the best players, I don't want to see a Trippier playing. Do you know what I mean? Like I know Zaha is a different one because he can play at the top level, but I just don't want to see certain players in the team. I don't want to see Pope playing my goalkeeper. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I see what you're saying. It's a good point.
Right a minute. Do you know where I think it's all going to get messed up? Yeah. If, like you said, if they was to do that, there's never going to be a situation where they're going to pick 2 players from each team. Literally, you're just going to get a combination of Liverpool and City. Okay. Yeah, maybe the odd one United player in there. And then in the North, you're going to get a mixture of Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, and potentially a Palace or a Fulham or odd one player here or there, depending if you want to be kind to them, you get me? But for me, it just the motive behind it is money in it. And when the motive is money, it's never really going to work too well in it because there's no competition to it. There's no real stature to this competition or once a year, everyone has a game. But what says then you don't get players from all around the world and make it into a proper all-star game, because that's the next step then. And then you're going to start. When you're going to start.
Talking. Yeah. You know what, Prem? You hit the nail on the head there. And both of you, and you kind of brought me around to it, really. But I do think, and we've kind of been skirting around it in different ways in terms of who is the messenger, what's behind the message, it being money and stuff. And I think that they've tried to squeeze two things together with like the North-South thing and then the All-Star thing. And again, that might be a bit of an American thing. They're looking at their East-West conference and then the All-Star, trying to squeeze stuff together. But I think if you took the All-Star part out, and maybe if it had been someone else that had brought the idea forward and he said, look, we're going to have a North v South game every year, and it's the best team from the North, best team from the South, with some kind of max cap on players from teams. And it's not necessarily all stars. You are going to have big names, but it's also about, you know, putting together a good team from both ends. And then all the money we're going to put in from the Conference North and the Conference South at grassroots football in the North and the South. And we're going to, like, if it was something like that, where it was like, it was really about the North and South, and the money was really going into like Conference North and South, who got fucked over in them lower leagues by, you know, the pandemic and the recession. And it was like, right, we're going to pump money back into grassroots at North and South. And to match up that North-South thing, we're going to do a North v South game. I'd be all on board, because then it would feel like it was authentic. But when it's just some mishmash of ideas, it's like, yeah, do you remember that advert back in the day where it was like, what was it, Carlsberg or something, where it was like added time multi-ball, and it was like, they just was throwing stuff into the game. And at the time you were like, yo, that would be funny. But then obviously in reality, it's just some fad that somebody somewhere that's not really attached to football is just like, throw this in, throw some lions in, just make the pitch smaller, make the nets bigger, like just do anything to try and make it a bit of a, do you know what I mean? A fad that you can just sell quick.
Yeah. Listen, let me get in here. Sorry, obviously, I know we had Lee for an extra 5 minutes.
I know, Lee, we held you, bro.
I just want to say a massive thank you for coming on. People, Lee's channel description is in the title. Duper. Make sure you go and follow his channel, as he's nearly hitting a K now as well. So make sure you follow. Make sure you follow the man. Then
1,000%.
I appreciate you for having me on the show, man. I love coming on this channel, man. I love this channel.
Oh yeah, more than welcome anytime. You get me. We're going to be doing. Hopefully, we're going to try to make a bit more of a Premier League Unpacked to keep bringing a few different guests on. And bro, you know what I mean? We're going to hit you up outside of this anyway.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Listen, I'm going to leave you and have a good show, man. In a bit, man.
Blessings. Nice one, brother.
Right, so there's our two guests. I just want to say as well, people that are watching and locked in, a massive thank you. Make sure you smash a like on this video, as it helps push out the content, people. A massive big up to Lee, a massive big up to James as well. So, and Bish, you've co-hosted this show, absolutely brilliant. And you know what? I'm going to give you 10 out of 10, bro, because it's the first time you're hosting the show. And big up to yourself. Plenty more to come, but I'm going to have to wrap it up as well here.
Definitely.
It has been a sick podcast. Bish is going to hopefully start his YouTube channel soon as well, and he's going to take over the Man City scene. I'm telling you now, people.
I've got some ideas for you, man. Just keep watching this space. But definitely blessings to everyone that's locked in. Let's hope for some good results this weekend. And Premsy, I'll see you next Thursday, if not sooner. Same time, same place, my bro. Be here.
Same time, same place. Peace and love, people. We'll catch you on the next one.